Today we're going to talk about chemical equilibrium, and this is actually a really important topic in chemistry. So if you ever take an upper level chemistry class, you will spend a long time working on equilibrium problems. But for this class, we're just going to go through the basics of what it means. So the first thing I want you to recognize is the word equal in the middle of the word. And that's kind of tough for students because when you think of equal, you tend to think of equal amounts. And in equilibrium for chemistry, it doesn't have anything to do with how much stuff you have. It has to do with two reactions happening at the same time, and the forward and the reverse reactions are going to happen at the same time. So first of all, if an arrow has or if a reaction has a single arrow, it means it's not reversible. So you can only have the reaction go in one direction. So for example, when you're baking brownies and you have your brownie batter that a lot of you like to eat, including me, once you bake those brownies, you can't unbake them. You can't turn them back into brownie batter. It's a single direction reaction. But most reactions in life happen in both directions. So while the products are being formed at the same time, some of those products are turning back into reactants. And so it's a reversible reaction. And chemical equilibrium is when the rate of the forward reaction is equal to the rate of the reverse reaction. So what I want you to do is to highlight that word rate, circle that word rate. So it has nothing to do with if you have the same amounts. It's all about the speed of the reaction. Again, it has nothing to do with the amounts and stuff, only the rates of the reaction. So for example, you could have 90% of your stuff is your reactants and only 10% has turned into the products. But if the products are turning back into the reactants at the same speed, you will always have 90% of the reactants and 10% of the products, but the reactions are still happening. The forward and reverse reactions are still happening at the same speed. So in chemistry, we use a constant, and it's a capital letter K, and it's used to show whether we have more reactants or whether we have more products once the reaction has reached equilibrium. And a clue that you've reached equilibrium is that your numbers will stop changing, even though the reactions are both still happening. They're just turning into each other at the same speed, so your numbers stop changing. And so once that happens, we want to know what we have more of. So here's the equation. This is not in your reference packet, so you do need to be able to set this equation up. K is equal to the products over the reactants. So products are going to go on top, reactants go on the bottom, and you're going to raise them to the power of their coefficients. So remember, those coefficients are the big numbers in front. You're going to make those be the exponents. And just a side note that when you have brackets in chemistry, that has to do with concentration. So we haven't actually talked about that yet. That's our next chapter. Concentration is how many particles you have in the solution. So for example, when you're making Kool-Aid, a very high concentration would be if you dump a lot of the powder into the solution. If it's the opposite of concentrated, would be dilute. So don't worry too much about that now. Just understand that you're going to put the products on the top, reactants on the bottom, and then the coefficients are going to become exponents. And the way I tell students to remember, it's kind of a silly way, but if you write the letters as capital letters, so P is a capital letter and R is a capital letter, if you notice that P only has one leg to stand on and R has two legs if you draw the letters, so you want to set the fraction up so the fraction doesn't tip over. So you put the capital R on the bottom because it has two legs to hold the fraction up. It's kind of silly, but it may help you remember that products go on top and reactants go on the bottom. And then the last thing is, if you have solids or liquids, you just ignore them from the reaction. So the only two things you can put in there are things that are AQ or things that are gases. So let's do an example so you can see what it looks like. First though, once you get K, you can figure out what you have more of based on the fraction. So remember, the fraction was products on top, reactants on the bottom. So if that fraction is bigger than 1, then it means the top of the fraction is bigger, which means you have more products. If K is less than 1, it means that the bottom of the fraction is bigger, which means you have more reactants. So once you get K, you can figure out some information about that reaction. So here's our example. We've got a chemical reaction, and it says, what is the equilibrium expression for the following reaction? When they say expression, they're talking about that fraction for K, and sometimes that's all the question wants, is just for you to set up the fraction. Sometimes they actually want you to calculate K, and that's where we'll plug in these numbers. So here's what it's going to look like, just so you can see an example. So K is equal to, the first thing you need to do is put the products on the top of the fraction. So in the reaction, the products are on the right of the arrow, which is going to be just the NH3. That is probably the hardest part for this because you read a reaction left to right, and for some reason, studies show that students tend to read fractions top to bottom, so it's really tempting to put the reactants on the top. So just double check yourself, make sure you think products over reactants, and the products are on the right of the reaction, so they should go on the top. So notice that NH3 is on the top, and then on the bottom are the reactants. We have two of them, and they are N2 and H2. The next thing you want to do is to take those coefficients and put them as exponents. So do you see how the H has a 3 in front of it right here? So that's going to go as an exponent on top of the H2 in the fraction. Same thing with the 2 coefficient for NH3. That's going to become an exponent for this NH3. And then N2 just has a 1 in front of it. You can put the 1 if you want, but anything to the 1 power doesn't change it. So usually scientists just leave that off. And the last thing I want to mention about this is that I should have put in there that these are all gases. All 3 of these chemicals are gases, which is why you can include all of them. Let's say that one of them wasn't. So like if the N2 was a solid, you would just ignore that from the fraction and just don't put it in there at all. So the 3 things for K, products on the top, coefficients become exponents, and don't include solids or liquids. Once you get this fraction set up, if they give you values for these concentrations, you can plug them in. So notice that for NH3, they told us it was 1.8 molar. This is a unit for concentration. And again, we'll study this in depth in our next chapter. So we plug in that 1.8 here. Don't forget to keep it squared. And then N2 was 1.5, and then H2 is 2. And again, notice that one is still cubed because we had that 3 right there. And then you just plug it in your calculator and see what K is equal to. A lot of people, for some reason, stick a plus sign right here in between the 1.5 and the 2, so just be careful and recognize that they are being multiplied by each other. And if you're typing this all in your calculator in one step, you might want to put parentheses around the whole bottom of the fraction just to make sure that you get the right answer so that order of operations doesn't mess it up. So if you want to try typing that in, if you're not getting 0.27, try doing it again, but putting the whole bottom of the fraction in parentheses. And what this tells us now is since K is less than 1, it tells us that once the reaction has reached equilibrium, we have more products than we have reactants. So K is less than 1, so the equilibrium lies on the reactant side. You have more reactants than products. And that's it for equilibrium. So you can try a couple of practice problems on the equilibrium practice sheet, and we'll go over those in class.